In today's beginner-friendly tutorial, I'm serving up a delightfully simple yet stunning dahlia painting that'll take you 20 minutes or less. Welcome, welcome. My name is Shayda Campbell, and on this channel we get creative together. Today I've got a really great tutorial if you're a beginner. This is a super simple project that looks beautiful. I am working in a Strathmore sketchbook. It has 140-pound watercolor paper, so this is like the perfect, nice, thick, toothy paper that you want when you're using a wet medium. I also have my set of Munio paints, but you can use any watercolors for this. Grab a glass of clean water or two and some paper towel for blotting your brush. And then I'm going to do the entire painting with a relatively small paintbrush, number 6 round. You'll also need some brush pens or markers or Sharpies or whatever you happen to have. And you basically just need similar colors to the ones that you're going to use for painting. And I'm using kind of pinks and burgundies and then greens for the leaves. And we're going to make this beautiful autumn color palette and kind of just do this big swath of dahlias going across the page, a really fall flower. This flower to me anyway says autumn. And all you're gonna do is grab a bit of paint in that brush and you're gonna come over here to your paper and make these messy, messy circles. And you may even want them to kind of touch one another so that you get some beautiful blending of the different colors. That's up to you. Let's grab some Naples yellow next and we'll make a little messy circle here. We're just gonna work from left to right. You can even kind of pull the paint out of that circle and make what looks like a dandelion there, basically. But I think my point is namely that you're just going to make messy splotches and circles. You're not even really thinking about painting flowers. Let's get a darker pink on the brush. This is magenta mixed with a bit of purple and brown. Another messy splotch. Might pull that out a little and make that really kind of messy edge to the circle. I'm also going to grab a little bit of peach, like a jaune brilliant. This is jaune brilliant and white mixed with a little of that magenta. And I'm letting all my circles touch. As I said, I'm pretty much just working from left to right and filling in the entire page. This is the jaune brilliant here. It's mixed with a bit of white and a bit of that magenta, and I'm kind of playing, like for one flower, I'll just do the peachy color, then for the next, I'll add a little bit more magenta so that all the flowers are in the same color range, but they're all a little bit different. To complete this portion of our project, you just want to make sure that you've got basically a whole page filled with splotches. I put a few creamy white ones in there at the end. And then we're going to come back over to our palette and using that same clean paintbrush, we're going to grab a bit of green. I'm using olive green and deep phthalo green, some of my faves, and I'm also mixing a little magenta in there. Using the contrasting color, red is opposite green on the color wheel, is going to give you that nice fall, autumn green that's a little bit dead, a little bit brown looking. And just like we did with the flowers, we're going to work across the page. I kind of started in the middle for some reason, but I think it's probably easier to work from left to right. And we are going to add stems and messy leaves. You can use the tip of your round brush to paint delicate thin stems and then kind of just add a little bit of extra pressure to that brush. Run the belly of the brush, the larger part of the brush, across the paper and allow a messy organic leaf shape to emerge. Once you've painted right across the bottom and you've put stems and leaves, you can go ahead and fill in some of the blank areas that you will naturally have in between all of those circle shapes. We don't want a lot of that white page showing through. You want it to look like this is a garden just bursting with dahlias. So fill in the space with little lines and splotches of green and it'll look fine, I promise you. And then we are good. We're gonna clean our brush and just let that dry completely. The painting portion of our project is now complete. So if you're just getting started with watercolors, you painted flowers maybe for the first time, And now we're moving on to the part that a lot of people consider a bit easier because we're using pens. You can be a little more precise. So just make sure that it is completely dry. Have a cup of tea, have a snack, whatever. And then we are going to use our brush pens. And if you have dual tip pens like mine, these are Tombow, they're linked in the description. You want to use the smaller nib size, and we are going to draw the dahlias in, and this just is great bang for your buck. It's so simple. You can be quite messy and silly with it, and we just want to use a color that's a little darker than whatever you painted. So if you've got a peach, use a pink. If you've got a pink, maybe use a burgundy like I'm doing here, and you go around, you draw that tiny little flower in the center, and then you just go around doing these long sort of V shapes around and around and around you go. And you can do as many sort of rounds as you like, either going right off of the painted area or stopping short of the edge. You can add a few little lines if you want to. The choice is yours, and you'll see as I complete my painting, I do a lot of different things. I use really dark markers on some of the flowers, and then for others like this one, it's almost barely visible. It's very monochromatic. For others, I do a very pointy petal, and then for some of the flowers, I haven't done this yet, but I do get there. I do a really sort of chubby, bulbous petal shape for the dahlia. So they all look a little different, and it's very freeform and whimsical, and you guessed it, perfectly imperfect. So don't get hung up on the details, just have fun with this part. If you're just starting out with watercolors, layering brush pen or any pen on top can be a great way to regain some control and get the precision that you desire, that you might not have when using a paintbrush. Another thing you might enjoy if you're just getting started is my watercolor e-course. I have a course, it's available on my website, shaydacampbell.com. Check it out if you're beginning and you still need help with things like supplies, different paper types, and different paints. It covers all of that, and we get into floral painting as well. And super good news, I have a second e-course coming out this fall. It's all about flowers. It's sort of builds on the stuff from the first course. So if you're craving something a little bit more intermediate and you love florals like I do, you're definitely going to want to check that out. More details coming soon. Okay, we have a lovely field of dahlias here. Now we're going to do the same thing for the leaves, and we'll use the smaller nib on our brush pens to just add some little lines. You can do tiny little thin veining lines like I'm doing there, or you can just do like 1 or 2 lines down the center. It's up to you. I'm doing a combination of the two, and I think it looks really pretty, and it really makes those, basically those green splotches that we painted, it makes them look super detailed and really delicate and fine. So a couple little thin stems and some veining on the leaves, and everything is just coming together. This would make an absolutely lovely greeting card, so simple, and it wouldn't take very long to prep. And that's it for me. I'm all done. This was such a fun little project, and I know you'll be successful with it, even if you're just getting started. Thanks for hanging out. Please hit that subscribe button, and if you need help and guidance with your watercolor journey, definitely check out my e-course at shaydacampbell.com.